precise needs of the soldier has always been a true question.
We want our scientists and our engineers focused on the soldier and the service member and producing capability that we can put in their hands.
We need to give them the best that we can give them. We want it to work right the first time.
If a soldier uses it and it goes boom, Picatinny made it.
Arming the warfighter. It's a task that can be both intimidating and inspiring for modern-day innovators and scientists. In their efforts to counter a present-day enemy who's constantly adjusting tactics and creating weapons such as the deadly improvised explosive device, today's U.S. military scientists and engineers face endless challenges. In the next half hour, we visit one place that's meeting those challenges head-on. To get our fill of the latest in weapons technology, to catch a peek at what the battlefield of the future may look like, we traveled to the so-called home of American firepower, Picatinny Arsenal. Nestled among a few quiet New Jersey towns, Picatinny Arsenal appears to be an unassuming U.S. military base. But beyond these gates, a scientist's mecca and the birthplace of some of the most powerful weapons on Earth.
If a soldier uses it and it goes boom, Picatinny made it.
We have 1,900 scientists, engineers that work here, and they're motivated greatly by helping our soldiers. And you take a soldier and an engineer or scientist that's got a degree at MIT or at New Jersey Institute for Technology, and they have all this knowledge and experience in processes and research and development and mechanical engineering, structural engineering. They sit right next to a soldier designing capability and fielding that in days. That's extraordinarily powerful when you can do that.
Later, we'll show you some of the latest weapons used by our troops today, as well as what could one day be the tools of the future warfighter. But first, a quick look back at the history of Picatinny Arsenal.
The hills on the west side of this installation, it's Green Pond Mountain, and one of the peaks is named Picatinny. It's a Lenape word, a Native American word.
The most likely translation, rugged cliff by water. A few years after the War Department bought the famed rugged cliff by water and the surrounding grounds in late 1880, the Army established its first powder factory on the site.
There are hills on both sides of Picatinny. They were looking for a place with these hills so that you stick a powder depot storing thousands of pounds of explosive. You want the hills to protect the surrounding community if, or more likely, when something goes off.
In July 1926, something did go off.
Those buildings, the rounds in them contain something like 2.5 million pounds of TNT. My advice to you, when 2.5 million pounds of TNT goes off, be somewhere else. This is a scrapbook of newspapers stories connected with the 1926 explosion.
The explosion, set off by lightning, and the subsequent rescue efforts left 19 people dead.
I do take comfort from one thing. A lot of these newspapers that predicted Picatinny would be gone because of this explosion. Well, Picatinny is here, and papers such as the New York American are not.
During World War II, when the troops needed munitions, Picatinny was the place.
Now everybody talks about the military-industrial complex. That was very small potatoes before World War II. It was almost non-existent. We were it for making large caliber munitions.
On this relatively small base, 19,000 people worked around the clock.
I guess you'd have to say it was the most hectic period. But they come up all the time. We haven't given up developing things in a hurry.
Things like grenades, mines, even the engine of the famous X-1 rocket, the aircraft that first broke the sound barrier. Picatinny is the birthplace of many a weapon in many a war through much of American history. Today is no different.
The range is hot!
Plug your ears and take a look at the M107 sniper rifle, the so-called ace up the Army's sleeve. The M107 is the first semi-automatic 50 caliber sniper weapon.
Before, the sniper only had his individual weapon, like an M24, which was for anti-personnel targets. This now has the ability to stand off up to 2 kilometers out and hit the material targets, and snipers like that ability because there are vehicles out there that they want to take out.
We're going hot!
I would imagine after a couple more shots, I probably wouldn't be able to use my arm very much.
The M107 has been around for a few years now, a weapon of choice for many sniper soldiers in Iraq. But it was first developed here at Picatinny, and the release of yet another sniper rifle is coming soon.
Range is hot!
The M110 is an anti-personnel rifle. It is designed to attack personnel targets out to 800 meters. M110 is equipped with a suppressor. The suppressor system quiets the weapon down substantially. It doesn't make it completely quiet, but what it does is it also makes the sound of the sonic boom of the weapon non-directional, so it's more difficult for an enemy that's being engaged to determine where the shot is coming from.
What's more, the M110 sniper rifle has a semi-automatic capability, a first of its kind.
There's a personal story that I tell. I have a friend who's over there in Iraq right now with the 82nd Airborne, and they engaged a 5-man IED team that was emplacing an IED with an M24 rifle. That's the predecessor to the M110. And the sniper shot all 5 personnel, but he got one of them in the shoulder. That person was getting away. He didn't have another round in his chamber to engage that person. So with this weapon, he has additional rounds. He can engage more people.
One soldier's need, enough to motivate an entire team of Picatinny scientists and engineers.
Our programs, our program managers, product managers, project managers, we keep them focused on what the needs and the gaps are out there. And there's a lot that goes into that, but at the end of the day, focused on soldiers, focused on service members and what we can do for them.
Words can't always adequately describe the lethality of the improvised explosive device. But pictures and video sometimes can. As can the faces and the memories of the American lives lost to the IED. Shortly before our interview with Brigadier General William Phillips, commander of Picatinny Arsenal, the general attended a funeral in New York.
Corporal Riva De Nera. Extraordinary family, young wife, 21 years old. He was 22 years old, and his mother, who was a citizen of Colombia, who came here, and he was an American citizen, was born here. But extraordinary patriots as well, these families, and they suffer so much.
Corporal Jonathan Rivadeneira and 3 of his fellow soldiers were killed by an IED blast that toppled their Bradley tank during combat operations in Baghdad in September 2007.